Biff. The easiest guy.
Well, I'm glad you asked. My name is Bip, and welcome to Bip's Baking Bananaganza. Oh, yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bip's Baking, where I'll be baking waffles today and giving some short history and facts on it. I decided to do waffles because of this mini waffle maker I got in college. They didn't really allow us to use it in the dorms, so I thought it'd be a really good opportunity. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's get straight into it. After a long search, I finally managed to find a waffle recipe that I thought would be good. Alright, let's find some waffles. That seems pretty good. So here's the recipe. Oh, and I'll also put a link down below in the description if you want to use it. Alright, so the recipe is 2 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 3 teaspoons of salt, 2 cups of milk, 1/2 cup of unsalted butter melted, and 2 large eggs and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Alright, so as previously mentioned before, I thought I'd do a little bit of a history in quotation lesson. This is kind of just what I found during some research on waffles. So yeah, I'll just jump into that. Alright, so the waffles we know today are largely here because of the influence of the French, the Dutch, and the Belgians, with the word waffle being derived from the Dutch word, also pronounced waffle, but with one F. They are believed to have been started in the Middle Ages in Europe, originating from a flat wafer made in Greece called obelios. So, as waffles spread throughout Europe, it started out as more of communion wafers with like religious symbols or scenes being ironed onto baked goods. With the 2 iron wafers being called
Fer à hostie. Moule à oubli.
which were both used for communion wafers, but also wafers sold on the street depending on the design. As time went on, the street sold wafers started to evolve more into waffles, and by the 14th century, the first well-known waffle recipe was made in a book titled Le Ménager de Paris. This recipe is kind of similar to what's known today, with an addition like wine being a standout. Then, by the 15th century, waffles had become more well known, and Dutch waffle makers started using the square design that we know today. Recipes also began to evolve from this point onward, with notable contributions like the Dutch manuscript God Waffelen te Bakken, adding different spices and sugar in half measurements, and Groot Waffelen, which was the leavening of the dough to make it easier for cooking. As time went on, waffles continued to evolve in variety, and by the 1620s, the Dutch first introduced waffles to the North Americas. But they weren't around much until the 1720s, when waffle irons were more widely introduced. This is also when the word waffle with 2 F's was first used instead of waffle with 1 F, mostly because of English recipe books. As a fun fact, some people believe that Thomas Jefferson was the one who introduced the waffle iron to America and did it for a waffle party in the White House. The term waffle party was a real thing, however. As a result of waffles becoming more popular in the US and the expensive nature of waffle irons, people like share them and there was these things called waffle frolics or waffle parties that were held. Not only were waffle irons more expensive, but they were also harder to use in the past as well. Most waffle irons were harder to use in the past because of a lack of electricity. The process of heating them up over a fire took way longer. It wasn't until way later down the line, in August 24th, 1869, that a stovetop waffle maker would be made by a Dutchman named Cornelius Swartwout. And because of his amazing contribution to waffles, his invention is celebrated with National Waffle Day, which also takes place on August 24th. From there, the history of waffle kind of splits off because there's so many different types. But some key things are that by the 1920s, many or more slightly improved waffle iron designs were made, along with the growth in dry mix and pre-made waffle types like Eggos. I know I probably didn't cover everything, but from what I did gather, waffles are an iconic food around most of the world. So I just wanted to end this section of the video by naming some of the more iconic kinds. Brussels, Liege waffles, Flemish waffles, American, Belgian,
Bergische.
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 Oh, he's gonna have to go slow on me, bro. Hong Kong waffles, Pandan waffles, Croffle, Q Gapit, Scandinavian waffles, Goffrey, Stroop waffles, Galettes, hot dog waffles, and chaffles. And that's kind of everything. As you can see, I ended up making a tower of waffles. I ended up making way too much batter. I think it's because I had such a small waffle maker that the batter I made was for a regular size one. So I ended up making a huge tower. Yeah, let's see. Alright, so waffles, we know the Calio! Oh, forgot what I was gonna say. By the 15th century, waffles had become more known, and waffle makers were starting to use... I said it wrong again. Dang it! Why? After a long and hard search, I managed to land on... Oh my gosh, I can't say that seriously. Hold on.